I started practicing yoga quite a bit. And after about 3 classes, I dropped my gym membership, and that's all I was doing. First day out, I had tears in my eyes, thought you had to do everything. The old athlete's mantra, give me 110%. That's not yoga. That's not what we're doing. You know, yoga is much more, give me 70%. Give me a 75%. Be a solid C student. That's our ceiling in anything that we're going to do today. And keep that in mind as we go through some of these. We don't want you, I don't want you giving me everything you've got. If you couldn't look at the person next to you and talk in a normal voice, you're too far. You know, if it's one of those where you start turning and be good, way too far. So just dial it back from there. So we're going to go through just some easy stuff that you can do at home. And just as I said when I was playing for a living, most common question was, Tiger, now that I tell people, yeah, I teach yoga, I'm a certified teacher. I've gone through Catherine Roberts, Yoga for Golfers. If you've ever heard of Catherine, she's a good friend of mine. Excuse me. People say now, oh, you must do a couple hours of yoga a day. Are you out of your mind? A couple hours of yoga a day? But the whole point of kind of doing this is I want you to gravitate to between 2 and 5 stretches that really hit what you need. What I find is, what's the most common thing people say when you say, do you have any injuries? Do you have any in golf? What's the most common answer? Low back.
Low back, yeah.
It's my back. It's my low back. It's actually your low back about 1 out of 100 times. What generally we have, because golf is such a one-sided sport, it's either our hips are a little bit out of alignment and it's pulling on our low back, or our hamstrings are so tight that it's pulling on our hips that's pulling on our low back. That's it. And most of the times, I'll be honest with you, it's hamstrings. It's not quite 50-50, but a lot more times it's going to be hamstrings. So if you're somebody that's really tight in your hamstrings, really tight in your hips, pay attention through this little warm-up that we're going to do and a couple of stretches that we're going to do. And just remember it. Go back to it. And hey, this one that Mark gave me was awful. I didn't even feel a stretch, but this one was phenomenal. I got the legs shaking a little bit. I could tell I was loosening up. Just kind of keep those in mind going through. Just put a little check mark next to it in your little library and just go from there. So we're going to start it off right here. So go ahead and roll on over. We're going to start in a tabletop. So just hands and knees. What I want you to look at is we want to get proper alignment here, which is wrists right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. So we don't want to be way out here with it, and we don't want to be way up here with it. All we're going to do is a big arch into the back, really round the back, slide forward just about an inch or so. Exhale, press it back, tuck the pelvis under, and round out through the shoulders. Just start to go with your own breath. So inhales, arch the back, look forward, slide a little. Exhales, press it back, send those shoulder blades high, and round out, tuck that pelvis. Just keep going with those. We're going to do about 5-10 rounds. Just feel that low back starting to loosen up a little bit. Feel the shoulders starting to loosen up a little bit for me. And I didn't ask before we got started, but if you have a yoga practice, if you've ever been in yoga before, this is not that. You have questions, yell them out. We are not quiet and chanting and oming here. That's not what we're doing. I don't get into the whole hippie granola yoga teacher thing. So if you have a question, yell it. Everybody getting just a little loose in there? Starting to feel all right? Everybody saying Martin was beating y'all up yesterday, so we gotta get some good stretching in here today. Know what you're in for now. Nice, one more round. Big arch in the back, look forward, slide forward a little bit. Exhale, press it back, tuck the pelvis, round it out, press to those shoulder blades. Bring it right back to where we started, this tabletop. Now I want you to bring the knees all the way together. All we're gonna do is make big hip circles. So drop the hips to the right, back around the heels, all the way to the left. A great way to feel this, a great way to start to get into this is just feel your head going opposite where your hips are. So when your hips go back and right, feel your head go front and left. That's how you start to get that nice little bit of traction in there. So when your chiropractor, when your doctor says traction, that's bad. When I say traction, that's good. That's what we're looking for. It means we've got 2 forces working different ways to give us a stretch in the middle. That's all traction is. Nice. If you find little tight spots, for me especially, when I drop my hips to the right and get out here, it's a little tight. Just sit there and roll it out. Just kind of roll into it. That's all we're doing. Just kind of easing into it, sinking into it a little bit, and then just keep those circles going. Big as you can make them. Imagine you've got a laser pointer on your tailbone right here, and you're trying to see how big of circles you can make all the way around there. One more this way, and then just go ahead and switch directions. Take it back the opposite way, over the left hip, back over the heels, all the way to the right. Start to notice the differences. Nobody in the world feels the same going one way and the other. Doesn't matter how much yoga you do, how much golf you play, you're never gonna feel the exact same. But what we're trying to get is a more even balance between our right and left side. We're trying to get the body working together a little bit more.
Not too much. I can go left about half as far as I
Yep.
can right.
And everybody will find that, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a 25 handicap or if you're one of the PGA Tour pros I work with. Everybody is tight one side or the other. It's either going to be in your hip, your glute, your piriformis, which is just above your glute minimus, right next to your hip. Everybody's going to be tight, and it's either going to restrict us on our backswing or it's going to restrict us on our follow through. Nice.
Who can't do this watching TV in the morning?
Amen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when you do it.
Amen. Go ahead and bring it right back to center. We're going to sit it up nice and tall on the knees. If you like, if it feels good to you, feel free to sit back. You get a little quad stretch with it as well. I generally sit up high. I'm just going to interlace the fingers, going to start to press it away. If you are sitting down on your knees, same thing, just press it away. Inhale all the way up, nice and tall. Exhale right back, going to press it away. Send those shoulder blades high, get a nice stretch with it. Inhale right back up to the sky. One more time, really round through it, press the ground away, nice big shoulder stretch. Go and bring it right back up to the sky, and then take those hands right behind your head, just like you would if you were laying, relaxing on the couch, but give me about an inch between the head and the hands. We're just gonna start pulling nice and easily, but what I want is keep your head center. So we're not gonna take this off just to the side. I want you really working the shoulders. So the feeling you have here is like you're trying to pull your fingers apart, you're just not gonna let them come apart. So the more you feel that really trying to get them apart, you're going to get into the shoulders just a little bit deeper. Anybody not getting a little stretch in their shoulders with this one? Good. Really good. And then after a few times you played with it, you can start making big circles here with the shoulders all the way around, getting a little bit deeper. It's a nice way to get the shoulders moving a little bit. Nice, and then just take it back the other way. Really good. Good, release it, shake it out just a little bit. We're gonna hit a couple for the arms and for the shoulders while we're down here. So go ahead and take your hands straight out in front of you. Now we're just gonna pull the palms straight up. Let's take these fingers and cover up your fingers so we're not worried about getting into the hand here. Just a nice little pull. And then we're gonna start little rotations with the elbow right here. If you can't feel this move right away, don't worry about it. This is a strange move. This is something we don't do very often. The more you do it, you'll get to where the shoulder doesn't move a whole lot. You're just getting nice rotations through there. Nice, and then just switch it up. We're gonna take the hand down. So when we go down, we don't cover the fingers, we cover the whole hand. If we just grab the fingers here, we're just kind of wrenching into the wrist. Same thing, nice little 75% pull. And big rotations all the way through those forearms. Nice, go ahead and switch it up, other hand straight out. Take that palm up, cover the fingers. Nice little rotations. Really good, and then switch it, palm down, cover the hand this time. Same thing, nice little rotations. Really good. Go ahead and release it. Hit just one more for the shoulders here. Go ahead and take this right hand up. Gonna take it in between the shoulder blades. Cover this right elbow with your left hand and then give me a big press. This isn't a pull. This isn't really a stretch. This is just pulling our shoulder out of place. Press that elbow into that left hand and then lean it just a little bit off to the left. You're gonna get a big stretch all the way down the shoulder. A little bit of tricep. Should be getting it down into the lats a little bit as well. Nice, if you get into something and it's not comfortable, just come right back out of it, try it again, and find where it's good for you. I can tell you exactly what it's gonna stretch. I can tell you where you should be feeling it. I can't tell you how it feels. So if it doesn't feel good somewhere, come out, try something else, not a big deal. Go ahead and release it, shake it out, and then just switch sides. Left hand up in between the shoulder blades. Cover that left elbow with the right hand. Big press into that right hand. Then just take it off to the right a little bit. So when I first started taking yoga, I didn't understand why all these yoga teachers kept saying, make the practice your own. Well, okay, I'm coming to your class. How do I make that mine? What that means is go ahead and release it, shake it out a little bit. When you're doing any of these poses, when you're doing any stretches at all, you've got to make them work for you. So it might be that if I take you here and say press into it, and it feels better to have your hand over here, it feels better to have your hand here instead of in the center, play around with that. There's no right and wrong. As long as you're not ever hurting yourself, it's right. You're getting a stretch. As long as you don't ever feel pain, and I talk about that a lot. Discomfort, we have to learn how to deal with a little bit. And stretching in our golf game, we have shots that we don't want to hit. You've really got to find that place where you go, okay, discomfort I can deal with. Pain and stretching and yoga we don't deal with. 1 out of 10, done. Stop, find something else. Let's go ahead and take this right foot out in front of you. Give me a little bit of an angle here. So when I say that, I mean in the shin, because we're going to press into it. I'm big on having bones on top of bones. So get here with it. Press that right knee forward. We want that right knee ending up right on top of that right ankle. We're going to press and then start to lean back a little bit. A lot of people do this stretch and want to come here. We're losing the stretch there. The higher we sit up and the more we drop our hips. All we're trying to open here is our hip flexor. That's it. Our left hip flexor. Go ahead and let the upper body be nice and relaxed. Show the body it doesn't have to be, if the legs are working hard, the upper body doesn't have to be working hard as well. Just relax into it. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. If that feels good, yeah, release the hands down. If it feels better to you sitting like this with it, that's great. The full-on advanced version of this pose, and don't try this, is a full back bend, open it up with it. That's what's gonna open into that hip flexor more than anything. So if it feels good here, if it feels good here, if it feels good here, just play with it. Go and take that left hand outside this right knee now. We're gonna open that right hand all the way back, big twist. So all we care about here is that this left hand on the right knee, we're not letting that right knee come all the way into the center line. We're not letting it go ahead and dump into the hips. That right knee and the right hip is nice and stable, and just big rotation all the way around that right side. Then bring it right back to center. We're just going to sink into the left knee, straighten this right leg. And all we're looking for here is we want to work the toes up towards the sky as much as we can. If you can only get it to here, that's fine. I want you to have the feeling though like you're trying to pull this heel back. You're just not going to let it move. Kind of the same thing we just did with the shoulders. Then we're just going to start to lean over. If you've got the length, you can take the hands to the ground, great. If not, doesn't matter. Take the hands right here to the quad. And we're trying to come out with this. A lot of people see this and they think, here's the stretch. That's nice, but the whole stretch, what feels the best is trying to get the nose out even with the toes. The more we keep this chin up, start to reach out with it, we're getting a big stretch all the way through the Achilles, back through the calves, back into the hamstrings here. And so if you start to get those shakes in the leg, your leg starts doing this. Everybody seems to hit that point and go, yep, that's good. When we get that, again, that's discomfort. Try to breathe through that. And again, I don't get into the very granola hippie yoga teacher part of it. There's one aspect of this I'm going to tell you right now because I love keeping people a little extra time dealing with this hamstring.
You'll love it
I know everybody's really happy with that one. All right, I'll let you switch that. I'll tell you. How's that? Go ahead, bring this left foot out. Same thing, little angle to it. Start to drop it down. Press that knee away. Drop those hips. So what those shakes are doing, and like we were just talking about the discomfort, if you get those, especially in the legs, and again, people start to get those shakes and yeah, okay, whatever, dude, we're done. The shakes are really, they're getting rid of three things. They're getting rid of scar tissue. They're getting rid of toxins in the muscles that are getting stretched deep enough to actually release now. Think about wringing out a sponge. If you just do it this much, you're gonna get a little water. What happens if you do it this much? You're gonna get a lot of water. Same thing with our muscles. The more we stretch out, the more we release toxins out of it. And what you're doing, that means you're bumping up against your threshold a little bit. Your legs are shaking, going, whoa, this is new, this is new, this is new. That's okay, just breathe with it. What I like to tell people is, if you think about you think about traditional workouts, and again, give me that 100%, 110%. Think of your flexibility like this. We're not trying to ram through it, we're just touching up against it. We get to that threshold and dial back. The more we do that, the more that threshold for our flexibility moves. The more we try to ram through that wall, the more that flexibility pushes back and we tighten up. So it's possible to go through and do a yoga, really start a yoga practice and get into it. If you give it 100%, you will tighten up the body. I guarantee it. You're gonna do the exact opposite of what you're trying to get out of it. So go ahead and take that right hand outside the left knee, big twist back around, spinal twist. Just breathe into it. And bring it right back forward. Gonna sink into that right knee, straighten the left foot. Start to lean forward right here. So again, I told you I don't get into much of the Eastern philosophy and much of the kind of granola hippie stuff. There's one aspect of it I really like. I can't tell you why this works, I can just tell you that it works. Where you have a tight spot, which I'm assuming most of us right here is hamstrings, breathe into it. And when I say that, focus the breath straight to that spot. So when you breathe in, feel, kind of envision the breath coming in through the nose, down through the lungs, straight to that hamstring. When you exhale, feel like the breath starts, the base of it is that hamstring, works up through the body and works out. When you focus that breath to where you need it, it's amazing how well the body opens up. I'd love to see why. I'd love to see science prove this. It's something that in 10 years of doing yoga, I can't figure out, but it works.
Prove what?
Prove why when you send that breath directly to one spot, you know, breathing into a muscle, meaning having that breath come in through the nose, envision it working down through the body into the muscle. When you exhale, see that breath coming up from the muscle and out. It's amazing how much the body will start to open from that. Absolutely amazing. It's one of the weirdest things I've seen. Go ahead and tuck this left foot behind you. Go ahead and grab a drink real quick. We're gonna stay on the ground for just a few more minutes. We go ahead and grab a drink, getting a little warm out here early today. So I want you to go ahead and lay it, after you get a drink, lay it down flat on your belly. So we're gonna start right here, kind of like we're little kids propped up watching TV. I want you to bring the hands in front of you. We're just sitting on the elbows. This is a really small move right here. All we're gonna do, press into the elbows, look up a little bit, and then press that pelvis into the ground just a tiny little bit. You'll feel that low back start to open, and then release. This is only a couple inches we're moving here. Just a nice, easy way to get into the back. Same thing, inhale up, press into the elbows, press into that pelvis. Exhale, release it down. Now we're gonna move these hands back where the elbows were. Go ahead and lay it flat onto the ground. We're gonna inhale up. If you wanna keep bent elbows right here, that's fine. If you've got some room you wanna straighten out, that's fine as well. Whatever feels good. Exhale right back down. Next inhale brings you right back up. One thing we're trying to do here, feel like you're pinching the elbows in by the side. So when you come down, feel like the ribs kind of push the elbows out of the way. So we don't want the military push-ups out here with it. Really tuck these elbows into the side. Inhale right back up. Now we're gonna hold it. Go ahead and look over your right shoulder. You can dip into your left hip a little bit. Nice big twist. Look over the left shoulder, dip into the right hip a little bit. And bring it right back to center. This is a place I love to just roll out my neck. Try to take your ear to each shoulder. Just roll it out, let it feel good in there. And a nice easy way for it, we're gonna push back to our knees, curl these toes up behind us so we've got a little leverage, and press these hips to the sky, then get comfortable with this. Just down dog. So get to where your heels are just barely off the ground. We don't need you way up on your toes and we don't need you flat footed. Just get those heels barely off the ground, and then do what we call walking it out. So you're bending into one knee, coming up on that toe, pressing the other heel into the ground. Just a nice way to go from one side to the other. Really get into these hips, these hamstrings, getting into the calves, getting a nice stretch into the Achilles. And go ahead and look up between your hands. You're just gonna walk the feet all the way up top of the mat, then fold it all the way down, then nice and slowly just ragdoll it, bring it all the way up to standing. How we feeling?
Good.
Feel like we're moving a little bit? Good.
That quite a bit.
It'll get you, and again, all of my practices and all of my routines I've designed for golfers just to open the body for golfers, especially the hamstrings, especially the hips, especially the back. I like hitting the shoulders, we all need it, but again, for our golf swing and what we're trying to do and being stable over the ball, we're really going to hit a lot into the hamstrings, a lot into the hips. So I want to hit just a few things here before we get going and really start working on nice little stretching before we, pre-round stretching, pre-warm-up stretching. Just some things that you can do at the house. Take these feet about a little bit wider than hip distance. We're going to do a few things from here. Take the hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale, we're just going to drop one, reach up and over with the other. Nice big side stretching here. So stretching into the ribs is something not a lot of people talk about. One tip I'll give you, when you look up at that hand in the air, I want you to be looking at your palm. So the more we work that pinky side of the hand down, the more room we're going to get out of the side, the more of a stretch we're going to get down the side. Go ahead and inhale it right back up to the top. Exhale, just take it the other way. Nice. Really good. Good group this week. I'm loving it. Inhale right back up to the top again. Go ahead and release these hands down. Now you can bring the feet in about shoulder distance, somewhere in there. You can go ahead and stand up facing the front if it feels good. And then we're just going to interlace behind the back. And if you can't get all the way palms, that's fine. If you can just barely get the fingers together, that's fine. Doesn't matter what you can get back here, you're going to get something out of it. But all we're going to do is inhale up. We're going to start moving that fist away from the butt. We're going to take it up to wherever we start to go forward. As soon as you feel that body start to go here, you're done. Exhale right back down. Inhale right back up again.
Tight.
A little tight. This is a toughie. Exhale right back down. Come up full one more time. Go ahead and inhale it up, feeling like you're standing nice and tall. Exhale down. Now we're going to add something to it. Inhale it up about halfway. Exhale, take that fist off to the right. All we're going to feel like here is that we're trying to pinch our elbows together. What you should feel is a broadening through the chest, through the collarbones, feeling nice and tall there. It doesn't matter how far to the side you can get it, how far your elbows are apart, just feel like you're barely pinching them together. And again, keep that 75% going in there. We don't need you wrenching those elbows together. Go ahead and release it down, same thing, inhale it up halfway, take it off to the left, start to press those elbows in towards each other. Really broaden through the chest, through the collarbones. Just breathe it out. Nice, go ahead and release it on down. So I want to take you real quick through a little bit of a flow sequence that I do. We're just going to go through and hold it for a couple of breaths the first time. Then we're just going to zip through it one time just so you can feel it. Feel how the body works a little bit differently. So step this right foot up to the top of the mat. We're going to take this left foot back a couple of feet and give me about 45-degree angle. All we're going to do is start to sink into the front knee, take these hands up to the sky nice and tall. All we're trying to feel out of this pose is that the left hip is working forward, the right hip is working back. So feel that rotation into the hips there. That's what's loosening into the hips, loosening into the low back. It's going to help us feel a lot better in our golf swing. Good looking. So you want to be able to have the back pinky side of your toe pressing forward. Okay, as soon as we get up to something like this, we're just wrenching into the knee, we've lost it. So I want you to feel like if I came behind you and put my finger underneath the back of your foot, you'd break my finger. You're just smashing my finger back there. And go ahead and inhale it up. We're going to open to the side, open this back foot up. Exhale, sink it right back down to a warrior B. So what we're looking for here, a couple little keys. Right knee going over the right foot. Not having this butt way out, we're trying to tuck the pelvis underneath. That'll give us a nice big opening through the front quad. Front quad tendon right there should feel really good. And then keep, again, this is something I always have to work on in my practice. I was born with my feet facing behind me, pigeon-toed in. My hips always want to do this. This knee always wants to work inside. So we really keep it working out over that right foot. Go ahead and inhale this front hand up and back and keep a nice big bend in that front knee. Just for a breath or two, and then exhale, take this right elbow down to the right knee, open it into a side angle. Again, still tucking the pelvis under just a little bit here, getting some length, getting some strength in the legs. Two more poses here. Inhale it up and back, two straight legs now. You might need to shorten the stance a little bit here if you're not feeling balanced. If not, right where you're at's fine. Inhale up and back now with two straight legs, trying to get one straight line going from our right toes to our right fingertips. Lots of length out of that right side. And then exhale, we're going to reach it out, two straight legs. Reach it out as far as you can this way towards me. Once you're out of room here, just twist it open, triangle pose. It doesn't matter how low you get, what I want you aiming for is a straight right knee. So if you're just below your knee, that's fine. If you're to your ankle, that's fine. If you're to the floor, that's fine. Whatever feels good. Inhale it right back up, bend that knee just for a step. Step this left foot up, drop this right foot back. Same thing the other side, 45 degrees. Inhale those hands straight up to the air, squaring off these hips. And again, all we're worried about here, left hip working back, right hip working forward. Try to relax into the neck, relax into the shoulders. Everybody breathing? Everybody focusing on that nice, calm breath? Nice, go ahead and inhale it up. Exhale, open that back foot 90 degrees. Sink into this left knee. Warrior B coming on this left side here. So again, if you've got that butt sticking out, it doesn't matter where you get to. Even if you're still to here, I just want you feeling like you're tucking that pelvis up and underneath a little bit. That's what's going to start to get us that length through there. And flip that palm up and back, reverse warrior just for a breath or two. Nice big stretch down that left side. Exhale, take that elbow to the knee, open it to the side, side angle pose. Go ahead and inhale up and back now, 2 straight legs, reverse.
Nobody's farted yet. I'm proud of y'all.
Exhale, reach it out much as you can, twist it open,
I
triangle.
was counting on the doc for sure.
Yeah?
We bet dollar wagers, all the coaches.
Yeah.
That doc could air it out by now.
Oh yeah.
That would be a definite good bet.
Inhale right back up. If you think it would be the first time I've seen it, you're out of your
I
mind.
just call this half an hour of trying not to fart.
It's about the same thing. It's close. What you're really doing there is engaging your abs the whole time. Wait. All right, let's go ahead and flow through once. Bring it right back, top of the mat, both feet. Step that left foot back. Inhale those arms right up to this warrior A. Exhale, open and sink it to warrior B. Inhale, up and back, reverse. Exhale, elbow to knee, open at side angle pose. Big inhale, 2 straight legs, up and back, reverse that triangle, lots of length through that right side. Exhale, reach it out much as you can, twist it open, triangle pose. Inhale, right back up to that warrior B just for a breath. Exhale, step that left foot up, drop that right foot back. Big inhale, right up to A. Exhale, it opens, sink it to B. Inhale, up and back, reverse. Exhale, elbow to knee, open at side angle. Big inhale, up and back, 2 straight legs, reverse that triangle. Exhale, reach it out much as you can, then twist it open, triangle pose. Big inhale, right back up, warrior B. Exhale, step that right foot back up. Good job, guys. Feeling good?
Yeah.
So the whole thing about the flow and what we do there is basically going through it just to feel it and work on alignment. And then just going through it and matching that breath with movement, not moving without a breath. That's what really will start again. Touching up against that threshold, just barely moving it, and just coming back from it. Go ahead and grab a drink of water, then we're going to talk just a little bit about stretching before you play, and then let you guys get going.
Do you have any comment on plantar fasciitis?
I do. Got a physical therapist you like?
Well, I got a MAT, neural muscle activation technique. I don't know if you're into that.
I haven't done any of it. Plantar, if you work hard at it, you can get rid of plantar in about a month or 2. It's just painful. Bad pain.
Rolling it out with a golf ball and all that.
That's big. It's actually one I was giving to you last week. And the only thing I would add to that is if you've got a hot tub, roll it out with a golf ball in there. If not, sit on the side of your tub, fill it up, ankle deep or so, throw a golf ball underneath and start rubbing. Getting in a PT's office would be good. Physical therapist, which, he'll have you in tears, but...
What about ice?
Ice is going to tighten it up. What I tell people a lot is ice is okay at the end of the day. In the morning and anytime you're getting ready to get going with anything, you want heat. very end of the day, you know, and again, that would be something to ask a PT if ice would be good on it or not. It would probably help with the inflammation a little bit, but again, only at the end of the day. When you're done being on the feet for the day.
Do you show them the foot hug deal?
Yeah, we'll show you that. That'll be the last thing we do. We'll go through a little bit of stretching, and I'll show you a little trick for your feet. It'll feel really good. Everybody will like this one. This is something we usually start with this. A little crunch today, so we're kicking out some of the smaller things today. But so does everybody have a club? Go ahead and grab it. So I always ask everybody this: how often do we get to the course and we see somebody doing this? What's this stretching? I'm curious because I teach this stuff for a living. I can't figure it out. You're losing. You know, you're basically losing the stretch as soon as we're bending one arm or the other. So with golfers, I talk in terms of cocktails. We always want to keep a martini glass with this one. We never want to turn it into a wine glass, and we definitely don't want a broken wine glass. Make sense? So take that martini glass straight up. Nice little V going with the shoulders. Now we can start little pulls one way or the other. And go ahead and feel it just to see what I'm talking about. Bend one arm and see what happens to the stretch. You lose it. You don't feel anything. Straighten that arm back out. What happens to the stretch? Whoa! How did we get to that? Nice. And just work it back and forth. Couple of things you want to work on here. Work on getting the club back. So straight on here you can kind of see. I'll just make a little circle for you. Working on getting the biceps back behind the ears. That's a big one. It's going to really get us tops of the shoulders, almost a little bit into the neck. Taking it off to the side. For me, I feel at top of the shoulder a little bit, getting back into the back towards the shoulder blades. I feel this a lot all the way down the lats. And again, as long as you're not in pain, wherever you're feeling it is fine. Nice. Go ahead and release it. We're going to hit a couple for the shoulders here. So take this club straight out in front of you. You're going to drop it right around the back. So you're going to open the elbow basically to the side. So you want this club, you know, again, play with where it is. For me, it's right about where the bicep meets the shoulder. We're going to reach underneath and grab this club. And then just nice and easily start to open that hand towards the back. Big stretch for the shoulder here. Again, you don't need a lot of pressure on this bottom hand. Just enough to hold it still is plenty. Don't need to be really wrenching into it, pulling quite a bit. Feeling good? That's a good stretch, isn't it?
It pulls a lat big time.
Hey, get you. Go ahead and release it. Same thing, other side. Take it straight out in front of you. Drop it to the back. Elbow out to the side. Just reach underneath. Grab it. Nice little easy pull. It's just opening it back up there. That's one of the really big things. I love it. You know, when we go through and I do long classes. And especially go ahead and release it. I do a recovery class. When I retired from playing golf for a living, I got into triathlons heavy. That's my new obsession. So I teach a recovery class for triathletes on Monday mornings at 5:30. And we start and we finish with the same pose because I want them, especially triathletes, to see the difference that you make in your body in just an hour. How quickly your body can open up from stretching. How quickly you start to feel good. And especially because everything we do in triathlon is on very one plane. In golf, we're on lots of different planes. We move a lot of different ways. So it's really important, and one thing I try to get across to people, feel the differences from one side to the other. You know, if you do this on one side and it's, wow, this is easy, and you get to the other side and you go, start playing with that left side a little bit more. A lot of this is the same as practicing our golf game. How many of us want to go from right here in a bunker and hit 40-yard bunker shots for a couple hours? Doesn't that sound like fun? I'd rather be in the office. How many people want to come to the range and just start ripping drivers to see how good we're hitting it? What do we generally need more? Work from, here into the green. So the same thing is true with your stretching. You've got to find what your body seems to need the most, and we want to do the least, and spend a little bit more time on that. The more we can do that, the more the body starts to balance out a little bit. Let's hit one more here for the shoulders, then we're going to move on just a little bit and finish up. Take it straight out in front of you. Call these bus drivers. So nice and easy. Big twist all the way around, trying to keep those elbows straight. And again, nice and easy. 75% is the absolute max we need in here. Just rotate it all the way around. Should feel really good. Nice. Just a couple each way. Don't need a lot of these. Go ahead and release it. Now we're going to take that club head straight down to the ground. Take one hand out and cover the other hand on top of the grip. We're going to start to work this down. Again, working the ears underneath the biceps. Once we get here, now we're just going to start wiggling with it. Move on your own with this. Again, make it your own. Might be over to the side, might be angling it a little bit. Should feel really good. This is trying to mimic that downward facing dog we did just a few minutes ago. Trying to flatten out through the back, lengthen through the hamstrings. Just get a nice stretch all the way down our backs. Should feel great. Nice, and then nice and slowly bring it right back up to standing. We're going to use our club just for a minute for a couple of these to get a little bit deeper into the hips, so just use it as a balance stake. We're going to take one ankle over the other knee, just start to sink it back. So you might use this to the side, you might use it right here in front of you, but again, find that balance with it. There's a couple different ways you can do this one. What I like to tell people is you can either stick this butt way out and give a little press into the knee, like you're trying to lengthen the head forward almost. The other way to get really deep with it is just sink really low. But play with it, figure out what works for you. This is a stretch that especially my tour guys love.
What are you trying to work here?
What you're gonna end up hitting right here, you're gonna hit a little glute minimus, you're gonna hit some piriformis down to the side, and the more we even out this knee, you're gonna get into the hip quite a bit. Nice, and then just bring it right back up, same thing, opposite side, opposite ankle over the knee, start to sink it down, and again, might be sticking the butt way out, might be sinking the knee real low, might be getting down here and just moving with it a little bit, almost kind of wiggling around in there. But again, I have never met a golfer, whether it's a 25 handicap, whether it's a PGA Tour winner, that does not have either their right or their left glute minimus and piriformis tight. We're all going to be, it's again, figuring out the difference from one side to the other. Which side am I tightest on? If you're tighter one side to the other, spend more time on that side. Try to balance it out a little bit. And the last one I've really got for you, then I'm going to let you get going. Go ahead and drop the club. You're going to take the feet. Give me about a 6-iron stance. And kick these toes out to the side just a little bit. Number of ways to do this. You can use the golf club if you like. I'd almost rather you use your own body weight. You can take the hands to the knees. I like to take the hands in front of me. We're just going to get nice and low and start rocking back and forth into the hips. So I always ask people this. Shows me how good of putters they are. How often are we in a position like this on the golf course? A lot of people say, well, 10 to 20. Yeah, I like that. We're in it at least 18 unless we chip in a few times. So again, great way to get it. Just take it to as long as you need it and then come up, shake the legs out a little bit. That's when I would tell you start making nice, easy little swings. Either weighted club, slow swings with one club, just feeling exactly what you're trying to feel in the swing, feeling the sequence of what you're trying to do, then getting into it nice and easily and just getting ready to go. So one more thing before we go, especially for the planner. Go ahead and sit it right back down. As Martin said a little bit ago, you know, when we started, how many people can do this sitting watching TV? I'm gonna give you two things for at home watching TV that'll make a huge difference in the way you feel on the golf course. First one, and don't worry about doing this if you don't want to, just sit and watch TV like this. Literally. Everybody says, well, that's really easy. Sit here for 10 seconds and tell me that this is the easiest thing you've ever done, and I won't believe you. Again, I sit and watch TV like this all the time in my house. It's just it. The great thing about wide-legged forward folds, whether we're sitting here, whether we're leaning into it, whether we're taking it out to the side, and actually, whether we do it standing, doesn't matter how we do a wide-legged forward fold. The great thing about them, they hit us where we need them to hit us. I guarantee you, I ask every single one of you around here, this stretch right here is hitting every one of you a different place. Some people it might be groin, some people it might be glutes, some people it might be hamstrings. If I try to press my knees super flat into the ground, I get an unreal quad stretch from this. Explain that. Quad's not even lengthened out right now. Quad's contracted, but if I press right here, I'm getting a huge stretch all the way through my quad. So again, sit and do this at home watching TV, start to make a big difference. Your back will loosen up, your hamstrings will loosen up. And then one more for you, and then we're gonna finish. Sit cross-legged here. So one thing I'll tell you, if you've got a wedding ring on and you can get all the way down to webbing, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna end up doing that once before you start taking your rings off. But we're gonna start out trying to get the tips of the fingers down into the webbing of the feet. That's the look I was looking for on somebody's face. Oh!
I'm telling you what, this is, once you get used to this, you're gonna be loving hugging your feet.
Yeah, it's unreal. And everybody I've given this to said my toes are gonna break. Something's not right. Mark, something is not right. I promise you, this is awesome for you. It's unbelievable. The end game, we're trying to get it to where we're webbing to webbing. Webbing of the fingers to webbing of the feet. What we do from here, even if you're not there yet, take the thumbs, start working them into the arches, start giving yourself a massage behind the big toes, all the way down the toes, as far as you can reach back in the foot. Is that not just money?
That's the best.
I mean, I do this all the time. It's still
And
just
trust
never
me, I
gets
couldn't
old.
get my fingers in there for a while. Now it's easy.
So I got to ask you, and this is my dissertation, and it doesn't go anywhere with it because obviously I still do it. What's the worst thing in the world you can do for how your feet work?
Oh, well, I know the answer because you told me.
Worst thing in the world you can do for how your feet work properly?
Probably wear
Dr.
shoes.
Scholl's.
Close.
Go barefoot.
Oh, that's the best thing.
That's the best thing.
Wear shoes.
Close. Socks.
Socks.
Socks are the worst thing you're going to put on your feet. Look at it this way, and this is why I like people to do this. We're just balancing out again. We're balancing out from waking up in the morning and having our nice little happy toes that work like this, go into a pair of socks and now work like this. Okay? So all we're doing, anytime we put our socks and shoes on, is jamming our feet together. We're making them work improperly. It's the greatest thing. Courtney and I have talked about this. We talked about it last week. The Vibram 5-finger shoes, boy, they look goofy. It's unbelievable how many people you see wearing them, how many people I see in triathlons running tries in them. I mean, it's bless you. It's absolutely unbelievable. So all this is doing, this holding hands with our feet, this is just trying to get us back to square one. And people have told me a million times, the first time I did that, you literally lost some of my respect because I thought you were that wrong. And come back to me, how many weeks you've been doing this now? 3?
Yeah.
And it's just a different world. You go home and you do this a few days a week for 2-3 weeks, you'll be sending me an email going, Mark, I haven't walked this good in my life. So start playing with this a little bit because this is phenomenal. And all these little things, like I like to tell people, golf is not something where we go from a 15 handicap to a 1 handicap in one card.
That's what I tell them. They sign up.
Gosh, I'm killing you here, aren't I? Okay, who thought they were going from 15 to a 1 this weekend? You know, golf is, every time we get a handicap card, we're looking to go from a 15 to a 14 to a 13 to a 12 golf is baby steps. And like I like to say, golf is a whole lot of little bottles making a big bottle. The more little bottles that we can find and that we can put in our golf bag, all of a sudden we've got a big bottle and we've made a big difference out of a whole lot of little bottles. So anything that you can find that we did today, just kind of add it in. I mean, it doesn't need to be, again, people ask me, oh yeah, you do yoga 2 hours a day. What? Are you serious? But 5-10 minutes a day, you'll be baffled in what you can do to your body in a month. Just find a few of these that you like, a few of them that you don't like, and just try to stick with them for a month, see where you end up. But I'm gonna let you guys get going. Have a good day out here. Enjoy this perfect day.
Thanks, Mark.
You bet. Do we have a single cloud in the sky today? Just a Chamber of Commerce day down here in Phoenix, huh?
Lovely. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great
Thank you.
weekend. Thank you.